March Madness for all those basketball fans out there, but for BC fans, it's been a lot of futility. I'll explain how they can fix it.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network. I want to thank each and every one of you who have made Locked On Boston College part of your daily routine. For all you everydayers out there, I see you, and thank you for listening. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. All right, folks, busy day out there in the world of college sports. Let's talk a little recruiting. I'm going to tell you about the defensive tackle position. A lot of folks have been asking me, AJ, what's going on there? I have some ideas. I'll explain where I think it's going. We'll also talk about spring practice, a new linebacker in the room. What happened? Why is he there? I'll explain why this isn't the worst thing and maybe what else could be coming. And finally, to kick things off, it's March Madness. It's March Madness for everyone except Boston College. And it's been this way for the last 15 years. So let's get into this. March Madness is one of the most exciting times in college sports. As schools get excited, they get their brackets, their fans get all pumped up. But since 2009, it's been depressing for Boston College as they haven't even sniffed a March Madness tournament. They've been in the NIT twice, and that's been about it. Now, this is something we've talked about. We're not going to just dive into why it's been depressing. I did that a couple days ago. We got to talk positively. If we've got some things in place that could help fix this. And so the big question then is, how does Boston College dig themselves out of this hole and fix this problem that has been men's basketball and get them back into a tournament? Now, this last year, they went 20-19. Last year, the previous year, they won 20 games. The season that they made the NIT, and it was with Jerome Robinson, was the closest. They were, I think, the last team out, and that was the closest they've been. So the biggest question that needs to be answered is, what does Boston College need to do to get to the tournament again? And firing Earl Grant is something you can say, and I'm not going to fight you on that. But I'm going more towards the logistical things. And maybe it's with Earl Grant and maybe it's not with Earl Grant, okay? But Earl Grant's job status is not my point right now. And you can say that, that's fine. First thing that BC needs to do, they've got to play better in out-of-conference play. If BC wants to get closer, one quick step is every single year Boston College loses to Hartford. Last year, it was Dartmouth. The year before, it was Albany. You have UMass Lowell, Bryant, you name it. They have won every single year. These bye games, you got to stop losing. That's an easy win. And when you're trying to stack wins to make yourself look better, losses against teams that you had no business losing to is never going to make you even close to the tournament. So that's one step. And again, this is not everything. You got to do better. Secondly, in that whole scheme of things, you got to win the games that are in front of you. And this seems simple, but what I'm saying is, you look at last year's schedule. There was a string of games. They finished 12-19, so that really didn't matter. But there were 3 games in particular that stand out to me, and that was a loss to Syracuse in three overtimes, a loss to Notre Dame in 2 overtimes, and then that loss in overtime to UNC. That could have been, the UNC game specifically, they had that in the bag, and they blew it. And I think it was Notre Dame, I think they had a big lead too, and they blew that. Like, you win those 3 games. Now your season looks like you are 15-16. Still pretty bad. But if you take out the Albany loss, the Dartmouth loss, you're now 16-14. You're getting in the right track. So those are 2 steps that you need to take. Win the games when you can. You're going to BC's never going to be a team that's going to blow out and win a whole bunch. Like they're not going to be like I go back to when I was there. They're 20-0. I think those days are long gone unless they can put together a killer team, and I just don't see that happening. But you can win a lot of games, and you have to win the games that you can win. And they were too many losses that they took that should have been W's. That's another piece that I feel like NIL, all that stuff really doesn't matter for this part. It's just good coaching. Like not you know with winning these games, you just got to be able to get your troops in order to win. That's all it is. So that's another one. And then the bigger piece is roster management. And what I think that has happened in the last couple of years, and it's happened for a while, is BC, honestly, you look at recruiting rankings, it's not that bad. It's not like as like if you look at like percentage of where they fall in basketball compared to football, they're much higher. They're getting good recruits. They get 4 stars all the time. It's just they whiff a lot. Jim Christian, Earl Grant, they have not been good in talent evaluation. It's great you get 4-star, but if they can't play, what good is that? I look at guys like Jarius Hamilton, Prince Aligbe, Chaz Kelly. Like these guys are all guys that you wanted to come in and be contributors, and none of them have panned out. Justin Vanderbond. Like you can name all the recruits that they brought in. So many of them end up transferring down because they just weren't ready for the Power 5 programs. So you've got to be able to do a better job at identifying and developing these guys because so many of them are just washing out. Elijah Strong's another one. I don't want to bash the guy on the way out, but look it. He just finished his second year and he struggled and he's gone. Like a lot of these guys that are leaving are not leaving because, last year is different, but if you look over the years past, a lot of guys are just leaving because they just weren't ready for it or they weren't at the right level. Armani Mighty, he's another one. So you got to do better with your Italian evaluation. So I get excited when you have guys like Akbar Waheed, Jack Bailey, and Caleb Sturger coming in. That's all great and good, but will they be able to perform when they get at the ACC level? That's going to be a big deal right there. Like you got to be able to do that. And finally, the last piece to get back to March Madness is you got to spend. And this is more of an institutional gripe. And, whether it's on support staff, coaching, NIL, you got to spend. If you want to make money, you got to spend money. That's one of the oldest idioms in the world. And it's true for college sports now. The way that it works is you got to spend. So BC needs to look deep into their soul. You're in the ACC, and yeah, March Madness is pretty rough for the ACC. We just saw Clemson fall, Louisville fall. Not looking good. But that just shows you the conference isn't as strong as you think it is. You can take advantage of that, but you got to spend. So I look at what's going on right now in the transfer portal, and we only have Elijah Strong in, but it's early. I really do expect, that Earl Grant is going to have to flip a lot of this roster over just because it wasn't working. If that's the case, you need to spend to keep Donald Hand, and you need to spend to get some guys in here that can make you competitive in the ACC. If you're not spending, what are we even doing here? Look at what the difference for football the spending has made. Whether it's retaining your own guys, football has done a nice job of keeping their guys here, or spending on the support staff. Like they just keep building and building and building. Basketball has to have a similar model. It'll be on a smaller scale because it's basketball, but you got to spend. I don't know how else to say this. Like if BC has the money and they've got a big endowment, and it looks like I'm not going to get political here, but there's talks about potential taxes on endowment. If that's the case, spend it. Spend it on sports. Go for it. You have billions and billions of dollars. Spend a couple millions extra to make your team really relevant. That'll get you there. Now, I would say the jaded Boston College person that I am, that all this stuff is great. You're all saying, yeah, AJ, we've been saying this for years. It's never going to happen. Two things make me think that maybe things will change. One is that Blake James, I feel at times, gets it. I mean, Earl Grant's still there, and whether you agree with that or not may shade how you view him. But secondly, Father Leahy's leaving. I really have heard a lot about how much Jack Butler wants to win. And I hope he is going to view athletics at a little bit more of a of a lens of what I just said, where you got to spend it. You got to spend it to win. That's exactly what's going to happen. And until Boston College does all these things, they're not going to make the tournament again. We're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And we'll watch more John Rothstein's The Epitome of Brutality, bad losses, and getting blown out in the ACC. But you got to change it. And part of me thinks that maybe this is what's going to happen here. Maybe the reason why they brought Earl Grant back is they're going to change it a little bit. They're going to spend a little bit of money because otherwise, why else is he coming back? If you just expect him to do what he did the last couple of years and somehow magically fix this program, I've got a bridge to sell you. It's not going to happen. You have to change how the program is structured if you're going to keep him. So that's my hope. Maybe we'll see with some transfers and people leaving that this comes to fruition. I'm not holding my breath, but maybe we'll see. All right, in a moment, I want to talk about a tweet that came out and something that has been happening at practice, and it's a position that's thin, but maybe you got a unexpected boost from within. I'll explain what I mean in just a moment. With we're all about the stats because numbers don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. With the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds, it can literally carry the whole team, plus the gear wherever you need to go. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with room for 8 people, the Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling the lost hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power you up. Whether you're staying up watching the NCAA tournament, man, these games have been fun. Squeezing in a ground of golf, or just trying to find time to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick me up. With extra daylight, there's extra activities, and with longer days, I love getting outside for a hike or a run, and Tropical Burst is my go-to for a quick burst. So head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider. Thank you all who have listened every day this week. And if you have not already, all these episodes are evergreen. There's no games that I really talk about going on right now during these off-season months. So if you want to go back and check them out, they're in your archive. Go onto YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you check out all 5 episodes. If you're taking a road trip this weekend, it's perfect. You can listen to 5 in 2 hours. It's perfect. Get all your BC news from me, AJ. Now, let's talk about a position that Bill O'Brien has talked about earlier in this offseason. The spring season, excuse me, as a position that he is worried about, not worried, but has mentioned as having some issues with depth, and that's linebacker, specifically inside linebacker. Now, we've looked at where BC is right now, and it's interesting because we have not seen Jalen Blackwell. Cam Arnold is graduated. Sione Hala's gone. Owen McGowan is recovering from surgery from last year. Davion Bam Crouch is out because of surgery, and we don't know what's going on with Kamori Dixon. He's also out. So you've seen a healthy dose of Tim Hayes and Palawe Foa, who I think is a redshirt junior at this point. But also, and I got to shout out Kevin Stone of Rivals for this one because I didn't see it, is that sounds like Vaughn Pemberton, who came in as a legacy running back this offseason, is playing at linebacker right now. This team is very thin right now, and I'm not sure if this thinness at that position is going to last into summer. I hope not, but you never know. So Pemberton is a 5'11", 240-pound running back. When I talked about BC landing him, I was like, this guy's a bowling ball. He doesn't strike me as like a every down back, but maybe they had a specific use for him. Now, given their lack of depth at linebacker and what they have at running back, this makes all sense in the world if Vaughn can do it. Now, I'm not sure because I didn't see it where he was on the defense. Was he with the first team, the second team, scout team? I'm guessing scout. Just my guess because I'm assuming you got a guy that's just learning a position. He's more of a depth guy, but we don't know. But this is cool because I look at the running backs and I just don't see a spot for Vaughn because you have all these guys that are coming in and are coming back. I mean, you have Jordan McDonald, Turbo Richards, and Dontrell Jones, who are all returning from last year. Those guys are all going to have decent roles to big roles, and you're going to see a lot of them being your every down backs. Additionally, you have Alex Broom coming back from injury. And you're bringing in a pair of freshmen over the summer with Bo McCormick and Makai Dodd, both true freshmen coming into play. So I don't know where Pemberton would fall. Maybe there were specific packages, third and short, you would use them. Not sure. But if you're really hurting at linebacker, maybe this is just a temporary fix. You don't have enough guys to even get through practice, or you're really low on guys for practice. You bring in a guy like Pemberton, who's built, he's built like some of those like Vinny DePalma type linebackers. But obviously he's not the same level as a DePalma. But you can use him, and maybe he's a little lightning in the bottle for you. But you've done this before. Jolon Dunbar, a running back, BC recruited, ended up moving over to linebacker. Position changes happen. And sometimes for a guy like Pemberton, who doesn't have a specific role really carved out, this could be the best way to get him on the field quick. Now, there was an interesting article. Brian Doan of 247, who works with me, he's my national scout, wrote an article about how if you listen to what coaches say, sometimes they're talking in code for what they need. And Bill O'Brien, and I think it was the first practice or second practice, said, we're a little low at linebacker. So I thought back to Brian Doan's article, who points this out, this exact quote, and wonders if BC might be looking at linebacking help. I'm not sure that they are, but I'm definitely interested because we don't know. I don't know, and we're never going to find out what the status of all these guys that are injured are. Are they going to be ready to go? Are they going to miss time, or do you need more depth? Like, I look at linebacker, for instance, right? Owen McGowan is your Mike linebacker. He's probably going to start, but he's a position like I would love to have someone challenge him, whether it's someone on your roster or someone in the transfer portal. He seems like the perfect fit for that. Like, he has had good times in the past year, but you want another option in case he struggles because, Owen McGowan's good, but you might be able to find someone who fits your defense a little better. So what I'm saying here is keep your eyes open. Maybe this is the position that BC does attack. Now, in terms of the transfer portal, I've said this before. I don't expect BC to be super engaged in the portal after the spring session is over. Remember, portal doesn't open again until spring practices are over. But I still think that maybe a spot or two will open up. BC will lose a guy and then have a few spots to get a few players. Because and linebacker definitely would be one that I would look at, which is funny because if you've been listening to this podcast, there's been so many episodes where I've been discussing how BC doesn't need linebackers. Now I'm like, I've changed my tune after hearing about all these injuries. I'm like, go get a linebacker because it feels like this is a need. So this is where BC's at. I'm interested. Saturday they're going to have another practice. I'm not sure if it's a scrimmage yet or not, but Bill has said on Saturdays they're going to be holding scrimmages. Unfortunately for you all, it's only open to the media. I'm sorry. But I'm assuming there's going to be another big, gigantic group of visitors. We'll have it all up on Eagle Insider. And right now, if you have not already signed up, check out Eagle Insider. You can get a VIP subscription. I have visitor logs. I've got analysts. I've got scoops. I've got everything. It's 50% off. It's the price of a Dunkin's cup of coffee or a Starbucks cup of coffee. Go out and you go, and actually it's cheaper than them. Go out there and get a subscription. I think you'll enjoy it. Now, in our final segment, I want to chat about defensive tackles. There's been a question that's popped up on my boards, and I think this is a perfect place to answer it. I'll get into that in just a moment.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
This is Locked On Boston College, AJ Black. I hope you guys enjoyed your first day of brackets. My bracket, we did one with Locked On host. I don't even want to look at it. I think I had Clemson in my Final Four. Yeeks. That's not good. I think I had Louisville in my Sweet 16. I remember filling it out and thinking to myself, I'm going a little heavy on the ACC. I feel good about it. Now I'm immediately regretting everything I put down. And I think my bracket is toast because I also have like Duke winning it all. And Duke is like a team everyone has, so I'm not going to be doing all that great. But if you want more, check out Locked On College Basketball and check out on Amazon Fire TV. Check out some of the shows on there. It's great stuff. If you want good college basketball coverage, Amazon Fire TV has it covered. Now, I want to shout out my listeners who are on Eagle Insider. And someone brought up a question, and I wanted to get into it. They've been saying, AJ, what is going on with the lack of offers and official visits at the defensive tackle position? Right now, if you were just to look specifically at the guys that BC is targeting, the only spelled out defensive tackle that they have visiting is Carmelo McKenzie from IMG Academy in Florida. That does not mean BC is done with defensive tackles. There's one other guy, and I'll wait for them to send out the official visit. But there's at least one more, and I think he's from Florida, that is a true defensive tackle. There's two. That being said, I think there's another story for why you're not seeing a ton of defensive tackles getting offered. What are you seeing a lot of being offered? It's edge rushers. BC has offered, they have 3 already committed, and I think they have like 6 to 8 coming on campus for official visits. It is a ton. Now, they could be saying to themselves, we're only going to take a few. Carter Gooden's our favorite or whatever. These other guys, maybe not. I think there's another reason why they're doing this, and that's because I could see them pushing some of these edge rushers inside. It only takes 20, 25 pounds to make them defensive tackles, 30 pounds. And that's not that hard when you get to the college level. I look at a guy like Mac Fitzgerald. He looks to me like he's built to potentially be a defensive tackle. He's listed as an edge, and maybe that's what they're looking at him as. But my thought is all of these guys, they're not going to take 7 edge rushers. They may take 4 edge rushers and 3 defensive tackles. So I think what you're seeing is edge rushers that are listed as edge rushers, and they're probably told that they're edge rushers, but may end up being defensive tackles but when all is said and done. I don't expect guys like Dom Funk to move inside or Carter Gooden to go inside or Mason Leak. There's other guys that could end up inside, and it'll be interesting to see how that all kind of pans out. But that's more of what I think. I think they're going to be looking at how do I adjust these guys' change the body and mass of these guys to get them to where we need them at the collegiate level. That's my 2 cents. We'll have to wait to see how things pan out. But if you look at the numbers of who's visiting and what position, it doesn't look like a ton of defensive tackles, but I think that's how they're going to get them. Now, on Monday, we'll talk more about everything that happened over the weekend, any more recruiting news, college football, spring practice, all that good stuff. You're going to get it here. So follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Threads. Instagram, you can find us there at Eagle Insider. Make sure you hit that like button on the show. The show itself, like these episodes, please hit the like button. It helps with the algorithm. We want to beat that algorithm so that people can find Locked On BC. And make sure you follow us everywhere. And I'll see you all again on Monday for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.